Hello, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Raquel Monroy. I'm a fertility nutritionist and I help couples and individuals optimize their chances of conception through diet and lifestyle strategies. Now, a lot of the questions that I often get asked by clients is, how does a balanced meal look like? What should I have in my plate? So I thought I'll do this little mini series to give you a bit more detail on what you should be eating, the types of foods. So for this series, I wanted to focus on protein. Now, protein is really important, especially for fertility. Protein is the amino acids that our body needs. It's the building blocks of our body, and it's really important for reproductive health. So just a caveat before I start, of course, all of this information is just educational, for educational purposes. If you are wanting to change your diet, it's really important that you work with a nutritionist or you speak to your medical practitioner before you start, because everybody's biochemistry is completely different, and what you will need will be different to another person. So just wanted to bear that in mind. So before I start, I just want to explain the difference between micro and macronutrients. So macronutrients are basically nutrients that your body needs in abundance. You need a lot of it. And the macronutrients are usually your carbohydrates, your proteins, and your fats. And then you've got your micronutrients, which are the nutrients that you need in smaller doses. And these are your vitamins and your minerals that you get from your foods. So how should a balanced plate look like? So I've got an example here of a typical lunch that I would have and a typical lunch that I often suggest to my clients. Now, what I always say to clients is every meal needs to contain protein. This is where we often lack, especially as women, we often don't eat enough protein for our health, but also specifically for fertility, because protein helps with hormone balance, it helps with egg quality, it helps to support your reproductive system. Now, I usually recommend to clients, and again, this is where it differs from person to person, but with regards to protein, I usually suggest around 1 to 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram. However, this is all dependent on your gender, your activity levels, how much you're exercising, the other foods that you're eating, your gut microbiome. It's all dependent on that, but that's usually around the suggestion that I offer to my clients. So in terms of protein, this is a typical lunch. Now, I always say to clients, half of your plate needs to contain your fiber. So half of your plate should be your vegetables. And I always ask my clients to have around 2 to 3 different types of vegetables. This is because fiber is really important to help with the detoxification of your hormones, but also fiber helps to, detox your body of not only just hormones, but toxins. It clears out your system. It helps with constipation. So we've got 3 different types here. We've got your carrots, I've got broccoli, and I've got cauliflower. And so that's half of my plate there. Now, cauliflower and broccoli is particularly important. These are your cruciferous vegetables. Now, these help with detoxifying. If you have issues with your cycle, or say your perimenopause, or quite often there's like many women that I see in clinic can be estrogen dominant. And cruciferous vegetables such as broccoli and cauliflower is really good at helping to detoxify your excess estrogen. So I always recommend that. So that's half of my plate there. And then I've got a quarter of my plate of quinoa. Now, quinoa is one of the few foods that is a complete protein. So it's got all the amino acids that your body needs. Now, usually complete protein you can only get from animal sources. So quinoa is a really good one for vegans, vegetarians, or people who want to reduce their meat consumption, because it's got all the 9 amino acids that your body can't produce that you need. So this is, I never measure my food, and I really don't recommend for my clients to measure their food because it just can get a bit obsessive. But just for the purpose of this video to show you, this is around 80 grams of quinoa there. And 80 grams of quinoa has around 3.5 grams of protein. And in that, I've also got feta cheese. Now, feta cheese is also an excellent source of protein and fats. So this has 25 grams of protein, and that's around, no, 25 grams of feta cheese, sorry, and that's around 3.5 grams of protein there. And then I've got a mackerel, so mackerel fillet, an excellent source of protein because it's got your omega-3s. This is around 50 grams, one fillet, and this has 12 grams of protein in it. And it's also got around 2,000 milligrams of omega-3, and it has around 200 international units of vitamin D. So bear in mind, for the UK, the recommendation of vitamin D is 400 international units. So this is half of your recommendation of vitamin D in one mackerel fillet. I always recommend to have around 2 portions of oily fish a week. Ideally, no more than that because of the contaminants and the toxins that unfortunately we now have in fish. So really, everyone needs to be supplementing with vitamin D, especially through the winter months. But of course, in the summer, we're outside anyway. But in the UK, we don't have a great summer. So I always recommend to everyone to supplement all year round. But that just gives you an idea of what an excellent source oily fish is for your vitamin D and your omega-3. This is around 2,000 milligrams of omega-3. There is no real recommendation in terms of omega-3 from an RDA perspective. However, for fertility, we can recommend anything up to 3,000, 4,000 micrograms. So this is like half of your recommendation of omega-3. And then we've also got some beetroot in there. So this is a really nice way to sort of add a bit more, make quinoa a bit more interesting, I guess, because I know sometimes it can be a bit boring if you're just having it on its own. But if you mix it with feta and beetroot and some mint, it tastes amazing. And the beetroot is actually classed as a bit of a superfood because it helps with your blood vessels. And it helps, it's really good for your heart. Back in Roman days, it was actually used as a bit of a tool to help with erectile dysfunction because it helps with the blood flow, getting the blood throughout the body. So an excellent choice there. It's also really good for the gut microbiome. So as you can see, we've got a diverse range of color on our plate, and that's what you're looking for each meal. You're getting your fats as well from your feta cheese. And I will also, when I have this, I always drizzle a bit of extra virgin olive oil on my vegetables for your additional fat. So as you can see here, you will have a complete meal here. So you've got your carbohydrates in your vegetables and in your quinoa. So you've got carbohydrates there, you've got your protein in your fish and in your quinoa again, and you've got your fats in your feta cheese and your extra virgin olive oil. And that is how you plate a really nice meal for fertility. And this will also keep you full for longer. And it helps with your blood sugar balance, because that's the one thing, particularly as women, when it comes to our cycle, it's such a fine line. Like, it's all about hormone balance. And if any of your hormones are misaligned in any way, this can affect your cycle. So I know a lot of my clients have PCOS or just are not ovulating in certain months. So hormone balance, hormone regulation is key. And this meal will help support that. So I hope you found that useful. I'm going to be doing more of these series at least once a month. So do let me know if there's anything particular you want me to go through. I'll put a link below to my masterclass, my Fertility Reset masterclass, where I talk in detail about the steps that I use with my clients to support them on their fertility journey. Because yes, nutrition is of course one of the main factors that I work on, but there's so many other areas that we need to look at, because having a baby is a whole body event. It's not just about the reproductive system. And that's what I talk through in my masterclass. So if you are keen to find out a bit more how I work as a fertility nutritionist and how it can support you on your journey, please watch that free masterclass below. Okay, I hope that you found that useful, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you. Bye.